Major support for these programs is provided by Bank of America Merrill Lynch and Perfect Building Maintenance, New York Community Bank, Kilroy Architectural Windows, New York's Window Company, GREENBERG TRAURIG, LLP, M&T Bank, Chase Commercial Term Lending. Additional support is provided by AVR Realty Company, LLC, Briarwood Organization, Bruce Mosler, Capital One Bank, Cassidy Turley, C.B. Richard Ellis, Chelsea Lighting, Cushman and Wakefield, Dime Savings Bank of Williamsburg, Douglaston Development, DDG Partners, Hal Fettner, Durst Fettner Residential, Friedman LLP, Accountants and Advisors, Gemini Real Estate Advisors, LLC, Genova Burns and Giantomasi, Investors Bank, James D. Kuhn Real Estate Center at Syracuse University, James Orphanides, Centurion Holdings, Corman Communities, Madison Realty Capital, Margolin Weiner and Evans, LLP, Certified Public Accountants and Business Advisors, Massey KNAKAL Realty Services, Meridian Capital Group, Newmark Knight Frank, Sterling and Sterling, SJP Properties, Stonehenge Partners, the WITKOFF Group, Urban American, and Ackman Ziff Real Estate, Ariel Property Advisors, Eastern Consolidated, Essex Capital Partners, Goldman Properties, Moynihan Group, Muss Development, RAL Development Services, the Spandrel Group, LLC, Rosewood Realty Group, TERRA, CRG, Triangle Equities.
You know, New York City's economy is growing, and one area that's growing is really due to the recent legislation for the institution of gay and lesbian marriages. So I today decided to bring together people who are going to provide their insight on how the economy is growing due to the improvements and the creation of the gay and lesbian marriages. My guests today include Ian Reisner, the visionary, the man behind New York City's first and moderate place of gay and lesbian hotel, the Out New York City, NYC, and also the XL Club. My friend Donald Frank, who's a partner at Blank Rome. You can't have clothing in New York unless you have some really great clothing. So I have Andy Kozin, who is the president of St. Laura's Merchant Tailors. And last but not least, the official candy man, cookie person, the person who really is the caterer of New York, my good friend, the creative director and principal of Newman's, Paul Newman. Okay. So, executive producer of the show today, thank you for the cookies, you know, the best cookies around. We may nosh it during the show. How has the implementation of the new legislation of gay and lesbian marriages changed, and what effect has it had on the catering business as you see?
Before I start, Michael, I just want to say, please unwrap the cookies before you eat them.
Okay, I'll unwrap.
The law really has opened up a new market for us, and we now have, especially at the beginning when the law has just passed, an influx of new buyers for weddings. And these are people who, prior to this, had not thought about or planned weddings. And so for us, it's opened up a whole new market.
Now, you were kind enough to send me this really interesting article which spoke about the, you know, really Boston, who had the changes on the Massachusetts over there. And there were certain comments with regard to the customers, you know, the fact, you know, that perhaps the gay and lesbians, especially the gay, were older, more established, spending more money.
Right. We're working with two couples right now, and one of the things we found is that they are older, more mature. They're spending their own dollars. They're not looking to mom and dad to cater or fund the wedding. And they have a taste level and a sophistication that plays into our strong suit, which is food and wine and great service. So for us, it appears that the buyers, the gay buyers, both male and female, are really perfect for us in terms of a new audience coming into the system or becoming available.
Visionary. I mean, there was this hotel that was built for the World's Fair before your time, on mine, on 42nd Street. And, in the neighborhood over there, you and your partner and your investors found this hotel, which was a 100-room hotel, and you opened up, March 1st was the official opening of the Out NYC, a 108-room, 108-bed hotel. Tell us about how business has been for the hotel, and really about, because you have the John Blair Club and some of the recent weddings and what you've seen.
I'll explain very briefly. I had a vision 5 years ago to bring to New York something that has been missing, which would be a gay-oriented, straight-friendly boutique hotel. But at the time I started looking for property, I realized New York lost a lot of other things over the last 10 years because of the real estate explosion. So many places like the Roxy closed because they were going to build a condo. Limelight closed because it was going to become a shopping mall. Hell, a major straight gay bar in the meat market, closed because it became a retail store. Big Cup, the #1 cafe of Chelsea, became a retail store because the rent doubled. And I realized Hell's Kitchen would be a perfect place to bring back to light food and beverage, a cafe, a bar, a lounge, a cabaret, a very large nightclub, and a gay-oriented hotel under one urban resort setting. But one thing I realized 3 years ago, and that's when we were trying to pass gay marriage in New York, I needed to focus on commitment ceremonies, and maybe one day that would turn into gay marriage. So we dedicated 4 different areas throughout the resort where you could get married. Places for as few as 30 people for a private reception, to a large nightclub that can handle 300 to 500 people. And we have a couple mid-sized spaces in between. Already, we've only been open a month. We had our first 2 weddings. Fortunately, we have a great ordained minister that's been performing them. That's Fran Dresser, the nanny. So that's going to be on our next episode on Happily Divorced. We've done Jewish weddings. We've done Protestant weddings. We're about to do a straight wedding because our straight-friendly complex, June 7th. We've just announced our first straight wedding. And what we realize is that New York City is a place that gays from around the world want to come as a destination to travel and now to get married. And I think it'll probably end up being about a $250 million business per annum for the city, and we hope to get our fair share of that.
But wasn't there hotels which were oriented for the gay and lesbian community before? We were talking about that when the financing, like the W's, were always more interested, geared to that.
I'll answer that. I feel that what Ian Schrager was doing 25 years ago when he started his chain of hotels, it was a group of straight people building a straight hotel for a straight audience that was clearly homo-friendly. And 20% of the customers, on average, might have been there bringing a flair and a fun and a youthfulness and great culture and music and design. I wanted to do it the other way around. I wanted to build a hotel by a group of gay people meant for the gay population and their friends and family that are straight as well. And we're doing it 80-20 the other way. And now that we've been open 2 months for the club, 1 month for the hotel, about 20 to 25% of our customers in all of our business venues end up being straight people that just want to be part of the vibe. So that's the difference. It's really built with the gay consumer or the gay local in mind on all of the levels of sensibility, levels of comfort, in terms of what they want to do service-wise, in terms of what they want to do in the city, what they want to do in the club, and then straight to welcome too. And that's what we've created, a true, straight-friendly hotel.
So now, Counselor, what effect have you seen with regard to, more people, both gay and lesbians, getting married?
Well, previously we were representing some same-sex marriages, people who had gotten married in states who allowed same-sex marriages at that time, and New York would give it full faith and credit under the Constitution. The first solemnized marriages were July 24th under the Marriage Equality Act. So hopefully those marriages will have a little more staying power. But certainly it is opening up, as Paul said, a new market. And not to go into great detail, but there is tremendous issues involved in same-sex marriages, which is created by the Defense of Marriage Act, DOMA, which has enormous negative consequences for same-sex couples in the sense that while New York has the Marriage Equality Act, none of the rights that heterosexual couples have under federal law can be utilized by same-sex couples. For example, the spousal support, which is normally taxable to the recipient and deducted by the payor, under federal law, you can't do that. You can't even file joint tax returns on the federal level because of DOMA. And there's 41 mini DOMA states who will give non-recognition to same-sex marriages. And transfers of property, which in heterosexual marriages are a non-taxable event, become a taxable event, and there could be a gift. There's tremendous ramifications.
But those are the legal ramifications.
Yeah.
I'm looking, and I think that it's really important that you're bringing it out, especially since now I understand why you and Maddie aren't going to get married, but that was not the real reason. You know, you have a good enough relationship all these years. But my comment is people like, let's say, friends of yours who are getting married today, they are sitting down, or they have had children. There is more need to spend time and get legal counsel and advice that I'm assuming that members of the matrimonial law, where you're one of the leaders, are busier and there's more economic activity.
Yeah, I mean, the point I was leading to is that I think there's a tremendous need. We'll see what happens down the road or coming now with divorces, but prenuptial agreements become even that much more important for same-sex marriages. For reasons somewhat apart from heterosexual couples. Yes, you want to protect assets, you want to have a roadmap in case there's a divorce, but you really need to sit down as a team with your client, the team being the lawyer, an accountant, a trust and estates person, to make sure that if there is a divorce, that these draconian results that come out of DOMA don't occur to you, and that you can remedy it and at least mitigate it. And I think there will be a sharp uptick in prenuptial agreements in same-sex marriages, and then divorces will come.
Like anything else. So, Mr. Clothing, we were talking yesterday on the phone, and you were saying to me, and it relates a little bit to Paul's discussion of, the more well-heeled gay marriage, or that they have more money. And you were saying that certain people, in wedding, you normally make 1 or 2 suits besides all the suits that you make for the Broadway productions like Jersey Boys and other things over there. But today you were saying 15 suits. What is this? And formal jackets and everything. I think you're going to have to open up a little boutique at
Absolutely, yeah. Well, wedding is still the most important day in most people's lives, and they want to look great. So why not get something custom made? And it's increasing on the heterosexual level, the homosexual level. It's just a great time to look your best and have a celebration with all the people in your family. And the gay marriages that I have done, I've done a couple that are going to be entering on horseback in morning coats and striped pants. They wanted to look like something out of the 19th century, and we're capable of doing that type of thing. But I think what you're referring to is the parents, gay parents, are celebrating the marriages of their children, and they're so excited about the whole thing that I have one couple that's making 14 suits for all the groomsmen. It's the daughter that's marrying this man, and he has 14 groomsmen. They're going to make all these suits for him. She's so excited that she could do something like this. I didn't think she ever thought she could participate in something to this extent. So it's, I think the whole gay community is energized. I think they're feeling good. They're spending money because it's a great step forward for them. And so I'm sure Paul's business, everybody's business, is doing better in New York because this place is now gay friendly, and I think there's an enthusiasm that's going to be unleashed in so many different ways.
The interesting thing, I had called my friend Drew Naporent when I was planning the show, and I mentioned it, and Drew, runs a number of successful restaurants, and he said, he asked his partner Marty Shapiro at Tribeca Grill, Marty, has our business really increased? And Marty wasn't certain. Now, I would believe that a combination would be helpful. as Paul alluded before, that people are spending more, they're more established, and as Ian has said, you know, more people are coming maybe to get married here, so the hospitality business gets better, you know, they're going to the clubs over there. Wouldn't you believe that the restaurant business is getting better?
It's funny, I've been to 2 gay weddings in restaurants in New York in the last 4 months. I don't think restaurants are usually the first choice for a wedding. Usually people want to do something more interesting in a park, in their country house, maybe in a nightclub, which is where, or in our great lawn at our facility, or in a catering hall. But I've been to some weddings at
Now, I remember a
restaurants.
couple years ago, one of my restaurant shows, I had one of the owners of the Four Seasons, and I believe last October, one of the largest and most expensive gay marriages was held. Bill White, who used to be with the Intrepid, got married at the Four Seasons restaurant, and it was 400 or 500 people in all sides.
Well, keep in mind, Michael, that it isn't just the wedding, it's the rehearsal dinner, people coming in from out of town. There's a lot of ancillary activity that goes around a wedding. So even if a restaurant isn't doing the wedding, they may pick up a dinner, a post-wedding brunch. There's a lot of money being spent around a wedding that isn't necessarily spent at the wedding.
Here's my question. How do people, okay, I hear people coming, and I brought it up, out of town. How do they find out that, perhaps he's easy because, he's got so much press over the last period of time that his place, you don't have to be gay or lesbian, it's gay and lesbian friendly. He's the easiest thing promoted. You go internet, you say gay hotel or anything like that, you're going to see the NYC. How do they find out that, if they need a prominent matrimonial for the prenuptial or other things, or if they need the suits or the catering? How are you publicizing to the world that you are really after this additional new source of revenue?
Well, the internet is the key. It's a miracle in some ways because places like myself, really can't advertise that much. You're not even sure where to advertise, and people are very diligent, especially young people, in searching. So they look under custom suits or wedding tuxedos, and they find us. And we have a whole section on it about. We have about 30 pictures of different grooms on our website, so they can see, and the brides are in there too sometimes, and they can just see what we're doing. And this is so easy to people to find.
When we're talking about gay and lesbian, so let's understand, right?
Okay, yeah. No, they're can see great-looking men in great tuxedos and great. By the way, I have made tuxedos for lesbian women too, and that's how they chose to get married. So it's. I think people just want to look great. I don't think they want to look like a great-looking gay man. They just want to look like a great-looking man.
Well, we've been actually marketing through showcases, wedding showcases that are tailored to the gay market. So we've done 2 of them and gotten weddings and interest out of both.
So what do you mean by showcases?
Well, someone will book a space. It's like a wedding showcase, but these are geared towards gay weddings. And we're there showcasing our food, showing hors d'oeuvres, talking face to face with couples planning their weddings. And that's been a good.
There's a venue. New York Gay Expo at the Javits Center was just last weekend, and I went to it, and I saw numerous vendors like these folks advertising their services, and that's the way to find the local population. I don't think you're going to find the tourists, but local New Yorkers, there's 800,000 gay Metro New Yorkers, they go to things like that, and they'll find these type of vendors.
What about in the legal profession?
No, we're a big.
Not looking for divorces yet.
No, but he's talking about, part of my reasons for Donald is not to talk about the divorces, is the preparation, on the, the prenuptials and all the others. Because there was, and Paul, when we were talking prior to when we thought of the show, we were talking about, in many aspects, before the legalization of gay marriage, gay people spend money. Okay, and if they didn't have children, they just spent. Correct?
Disposable income, yeah. Gays for sure spend more money than the typical person in the population on things like travel, food, potentially even their weddings. That's true.
We've certainly been marketing and letting the community know that we are able to handle these kinds of cases as we've been handling traditional cases over the years. We have, in my department, 18 matrimonial lawyers, and we are prepared to do what's necessary to help with same-sex marriages, whether it be prenuptial agreements, postnuptial agreements, custody issues, and divorces. And we just want it to be out there that we are knowledgeable in this area, and of course more than willing to represent same-sex marriages, heterosexual marriages. Everyone, you might say, is welcome.
So how would you say, with regard to revenues, if you know, the additional revenue that will be coming to the city due to the legislation, what do you feel, and perhaps some of your business friends who are active in the gay community?
Well, our former controller, Thompson, actually did a study, and he predicted it would bring about $200 million a year to the business in the city. I think because of all the things these gentlemen were talking about, selling clothing in advance of the wedding, catering, eating out at restaurants for the evening before and the next day, and all the other things, and going to theater, I think it'll be more like $250 million a year of additional revenue for the city now that our state was smart enough to legalize gay marriage.
Now, do you believe that there will be people who will, you know, basically you're a 3-star hotel, you're a select service,
Maybe even
limited
4-star at this point with our full service spa and room service.
Right, 3.5-star hotel. Do you believe, no, I'm taking based on the location,
Sure.
the physical facility
Absolutely.
that you had, okay? Otherwise it would be. Do you think that at one time in the future there might be, you know, a 4.5, 5-star gay and lesbian friendly hotel?
When I thought about a gay hotel, gays very often like to be with all ages and all socioeconomic, they're not as defined. Fire Island, you'll see 21-year-olds and 75-year-olds, Fire Island Pines. I think in a gay hotel, you're better suited to do a 3.5 or 4-star, where people that want to be in a predominantly gay environment that would traditionally stay in a 5-star will be very comfortable there, and those that really can't afford a 5-star will feel comfortable there.
But you know, we were talking about New York
I think
City.
it's too self-selecting to go for a 5-star gay hotel.
But you know, this relates. You know, Paul and you know everybody sitting here does. It's not only New York City. You know, the Pines is a main area for the gay community. The Hamptons has had a lot of business. You know, Sag Harbor and other parts of the Hamptons. Have you been booked? Have you had events out in the Hamptons and other areas since the legalization, as Donald said last July?
We have a wedding in Wassaic, New York, June 9th. You're welcome to join us. And so the answer is, I think gays, as in heterosexual couples, are doing it wherever they live, wherever they are, wherever they are comfortable. And in this case, they own a beautiful house by a stream. We're pitching a tent for 150 people, and we're schlepping up to Wassaic to cater the wedding. We're thrilled about it. And you know, we have Whisk will travel. You know, so if someone needs us somewhere outside the city, we're happy to go.
You know, it's really interesting, and it's great that you bring that up. When my son David got married 6.5, 7 years ago, he got married in Long Branch, New Jersey, because he wanted a destination wedding, and people, you know, we wanted to be near the Jersey Shore, and I can see people, and this is going to bring, in addition to local New Yorkers, I can see people coming to New York City today because they can get married legitimately, legally in New York, because New York City is the greatest destination. We had 50 close to nearly 51 million visitors last year. So with the, you know, with the opportunity, New York City is the best destination.
Of which 50 million, they estimate 8 million were gay, and I'm thinking of 1% coming here for marriage. Think how many weddings. We're talking about 80,000 weddings.
Right.
And if I get 1% of them, I'm happy, and you guys will be happy too.
Well, our business is almost 100 years old, and the health of the city directly relates to the health of our business. And right now, just tourism in general has helped our business so much. You know, people used to go to London, let's say, to get a suit made, or, you know, experience, you know, Paris for the shopping. Well, New York is this great destination, and it's gay or straight. They're spending money here. They're having a good time. They're looking for places to explore. They're going to neighborhoods they never went to before. They're going over to 10th Avenue. You know, what would 10th Avenue have been like 30, 40 years ago? Right. So
10 years ago.
It's just wonderful. I mean, it's a rebirth of the city. It's wonderful to see.
And I think this is a case where a rising tide lifts all boats. You know, we all have the ability to benefit from this passage of this law, and we're sitting with 4 people here who can directly benefit, but you could populate 100 of these seminars with businesses that are going to
and you know, and my mind right now, because I bring up the fact of the Jersey Shore, you know, Christie has been a great governor for the state of New Jersey, and people know about the Jersey Shore. And the problem is, he has specifically said that he's not going to, he's going to, you know, fight gay marriages, which the Garden State could utilize. I mean, the state of Massachusetts has done better over there, you know, different markets on this situation. It's really a very valuable I mean, you know, it's like New York City has, and many places have, an economic development department. This is helping economic development in a variety of ways. You know, there could be more hotels, there could be more catering halls, there could be more restaurants to take care of this community over here, this additional work.
This is Michael Bloomberg at work, New York City, Inc., thinking like a businessman. This business has to grow and make a profit. And if you do things like legalize marriage and then welcome gays to come here, like he said, this rising tide will take everybody's business stronger.
And so it was the right thing to do. I mean, let's. No, this was not just about economics. This was.
You mentioned
it's a moral.
A right
you mentioned New Jersey. I remember the people were really scratching their heads when Iowa passed same-sex marriages before New York did. So it's too long in coming, and I think that many people have been waiting a very long time for this to happen, some 20, 30, 40, even 50 years. And I think they want to do it right as much as possible and do it as intelligently as possible.
And I think that this summer, you know, is going to probably be one of the best times because, you know, legalization was last year, but, you know, it takes time to get business moving, weddings planned, events taking place, and the fact that the stock market is better, the economy seems to be better, and all of this market is over there. And I think if and when I invite you back in a year from now to discuss this, I think we will see a great change over there. So I'd like to thank my guests today, Ian Reisner, Donald Frank, Andy Cozen, and last but not least, the cookie man, Paul Newman, but he really specializes in all catering. See you next week.